Hello, Johan.
Hello, hello. How is things in Chile?
Oh, Chile. In Chile is everything very good because we are the champions of American Cup.
Mm.
So everything is bright in here.
And it's springtime as well, isn't it? Or it's not. I mean, the what's the season?
What's the season? The spring.
Yeah,
Yes.
spring. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's
And
much
there?
better than. Well, we're in autumn, of course. Yeah, it's very dark here. So I wish I
Nice.
was in Chile. So what do we have planned for today?
Well, for today, I want to present what we have. And I think it's not working. Can you watch something?
I see a big black box.
Okay. Let's go to present again.
Let's see if we.
You can
Yeah.
watch it?
Yep.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Good. So today's show it is about three very important points, and we can say about today we're going to talk about recruiting campaign.
Hmm.
Yes, and then we will have a quiz time. That's something that much people was waiting for, and then to finish Hattrick stream lessons. Um, I will talk about it in deep finishing the stream. So keep in live with us to learn more about this. I hope you enjoyed a lot. So let's go start talking about recruiting campaign.
Yeah. Um, okay. So, well, I mean, this is really. First of all, it's just a presentation of what we announced today, and I don't think that's enough for a whole stream. But these kind of things always generate questions, so I'm sure we can have some questions and so on. But I thought it would be a good opportunity also to talk about user numbers and Hattrick growth in general, because it's something that is always uh, a very rich subject on the forums to speculate on where Hattrick is heading, and if Hattrick is dying, and you know what we did wrong in 2006, and if we hadn't done that, Hattrick would be have 40 million users today, and so on. But so I wanted to like just present a little bit the context of Hattrick growth and or user growth or degrowth, and also how these campaigns fit into that, because they are, yeah, they're especially the reinvite campaigns are an important part. The recruitment campaigns are maybe not so important, but still interesting. So we're trying to improve that a little bit now with this campaign. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I'm just gonna explain a little bit what this campaign is about. So the as you all know, we've had something called the recruitment center, and the invite opportunities in Hattrick, like all games do, and you can invite friends and you can get reward points and so on. You can use that for supporter and credits. Um, but as with these kind of things, we usually don't want to bribe the users too much, because you want people to invite people for the right reasons. You want to people to invite their friends because they want them in the game rather than for some short-term benefits. But even so, I mean, I think it can be good to have some encouragement and for these kind of things. So that's why we have the reward points. It's not a system that has been very getting a lot of attention and love, but we try to improve it once in a while. And so right now we had already decided to triple the reward points for so all the invites that you do that leads to sign up for the rest of this year will give you the triple amount of reward points, and that's like for eternity. So that user that comes in, as long as he stays or he or she stays active, you get three times as many points. So that's a nice thing, I guess. And then now in this specific campaign that we start today and that goes on until I think it's the 12th of November or 13th of November. There's also like a welcome basket that you can give to one user. So the next person that signs up with your sign up link gets this special welcome basket, and that in that basket is 3-month supporter, 25 credits, and a unique player, like a boosted player that will emerge on that team, and that player will have a family relationship with a player on your team. So there will be like a bond between your teams, basically. This is, of course, just a small detail and a fun detail, but this is something that we're trying out. Yeah, so I mean, there's a little bit of everything. We try to make it a little bit more interesting for you guys to think of a friend to invite, and then to make something fun for that friend as well. Of course, in the end, you know, you have to think that it's a good idea for your friend to play Hattrick. So you know that's and if you have that, this is just a little encouragement to get you over the you know, the friction of actually inviting. So that's the campaign. And yeah, just as a small fun fact, then I asked Daniel, and I think like 3 hours ago we had 180 people receiving this welcome gift. So that's invites that have been sent out and accepted since this morning. So with the course of 10 days, maybe you know, we can expect a few thousand maybe. So that's pretty nice. But compared to a re-invite campaign, it's those are usually much more important. We tend to get maybe 15 to 20,000 signups on those, and there you have to remember that these are people that have played Hattrick in the past, so they know what they're signing up for. So this is those campaigns are, I think they fit the purpose of I think you all know people that played Hattrick for a long time, and then they lost their team because something happened in their lives. They changed work, or they, you know, they got a family or something, and then a few years later they might try again, and they sign up again, and they come in and they start a new team and they start over and have fun. So this kind of campaign is targeted at those users that left, but are probably you know, we know for a fact that a lot of them are interested in trying it out again. So but those campaigns we don't want to do too often, obviously. So that's why we're, for example, not doing it right now. We wanted to do something else. Yeah, so that's the kind of context of these campaigns, and I just thought it would be interesting to explain a little bit, because we always get a lot of questions. Do we have any questions here yet? No, not so much. So I'll just continue. And then I was thinking, because we always get questions like now we have been approaching a symbolic level of users, 200,000. So of course we were thinking about that, and it would not be so fun to drop below it, but at the end of the day it's just a number. It's what's important is the long-term trends, and the fact is that the long-term trend for many years now, 3-4 years, have been that we are stable. We have been fluctuating between 200 and 220,000 users or something like that for quite a few years, and we tend to increase when we have a re-invite campaign, or if it's the season, like in the autumn and in the spring, we have more users, and then in the summer it falls off a little bit because people do other things. So we tend to drop a little bit, and then we have the re-invite. We get old users coming back, and they take up the game again. So I mean, like from a business perspective, it's quite stable. Then of course we could ask ourselves, could Hattrick grow again? Could we again become 1 million users? What would it take to go there? And I think, I mean, everything is possible, but the only way that would happen would be with very aggressive marketing, I think. And we know also from experience that users that come in through paid marketing is not very good users. They don't tend to stay around. So that's not something that we have spent a lot of focus on through the years. We much prefer to, like, to keep the conversation within the community, and to reach out to people around the community. But there is some things we can do, and that we have are getting better at, I think, and that's simple and cheap kind of marketing to just, for example, the app nowadays is becoming a very important part of reaching new users, because it used to be that everyone signed up on the web, and then they download the app just to do some things with the game. But now we see that people find Hattrick for the first time in the app stores, and then they download it, and then they try to figure out what it is. It's not that easy with the app, because it's not very friendly for new users, but a surprising amount of people actually sign up and stay in the game that way. So marketing the app and just making it easier to find is quite important for us. That's so that's the kind of long-term view of it. I think that our goal should be to like turn this kind of flat and stable plateau that we're on into something that like resembles modest growth. I think that's would be totally possible and healthy for the community. But what happened in the decade between 2000 and 2010, when we went from 100,000 users to 1 million in a few years, and then from 1 million to back to 200,000 in another few years. That is like a classic S curve, as it called in product theory, that you catch a market and explore it to the maximum, and then the market changes, And what changes for Hattrick was that Facebook came in and smartphones and all new people that looked for games, they went to these platforms. So I mean, our choice was basically to change the nature of the game, or to stay Hattrick, and that's what we did. So I'm happy where we are, to be honest. Still think that there's a lot of things we can do to get better and so on, but it's not really a very negative trend that we have. So let's see. Now we're getting some actual questions here that are related to this. Steve Rafe, can you pick up that question from him? Do we keep any metrics on new user sign up? Yeah, of course we do. We have metrics on all of these things, and we follow it carefully. So do you find it, Antonio? If you want to pick it up, I can't do that, unfortunately, myself.
I'm looking for.
It's at the 718, I think.
Perfect. This one? This one.
Yeah. No, the one before. Sorry.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, the question is, do we have any metrics? The answer is yes. I don't have the answer to how many logged in the last 7 days, but I'm guessing now a little bit, but I think like the 30-day retention is well, it's better I don't say, but I maybe 20-30% or something like that. Okay. Identity Shaker is asking about fourth teams. Can you? I'm sorry if I'm erming, but that's because I find a question and then I don't want to start answering it before it's shown to everyone. So that creates a little delay. I'm sorry. Antonio, could you pick up the question from 722 there?
From Identity Shaker?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Would you be interested in opening up the chance to own a permanent fourth team if managers want to that? In principle, I'm not that keen on it. I think I mean I don't want there to be too many teams. So right now that's not on the table. But yeah, who knows in the future. Will you ever consider making all players within Hattrick have a specialty? Ask this is the next question there. Speedhoven. Yeah. Okay. So we were going from changing subjects here quickly, but well, I mean, right now I don't think so. We, the moves we have made here is much discussed with the salary increase for players with specialties, and that's one of the reasons is that we want to make non-specialty players a little bit more viable. So that's not really something that we have been thinking about. I guess like maybe a more an area of discussion that is quite interesting and that we were also talking about internally is this thing of temporary maybe not the right word is temporary specialities, but like traits, temporary traits and stuff that, or specialities that you can train. So that like the border between a speciality and a non-speciality becomes more fluid, or maybe even have levels of speciality. I mean, none of this is going to happen anytime soon. It's more like on an exploratory thing, but I think that's quite interesting, and could maybe make the impact of youth players getting a speciality less dramatic, on the transfer market and so on. That instead that you can, have more time to explore and discover specialities and train them. But yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. Do you think that the stop of selling Hattrick hoodies impacted the decline of the Hattrick user base? I don't think so. But it's really funny, because we did at one time, because like I think like let's say in 2009 we peaked at 1 million, and we already knew like in 2007 that was going to happen, because we were seeing how the growth rates were slowing down. So like you could like statistically predict that 2 years from now it's gonna start declining. And at that time we did like a really big research where we tried to figure out, like we were looking at every single thing that we had done and communicated in the last 5 years to see what feature increased the growth, or what feature slowed down growth. And it was absolutely impossible to see any impact of any feature, either positive or negative. I mean, it's totally impossible to like, even stuff that you thought was super obvious, like now people are going to be super angry with us and they will stop playing Hattrick. No, not like features that they loved, it didn't change signups. Features that you hated didn't change signups, didn't change stay rates. All these things happen really, really, really slowly. It's really hard to isolate one thing and say that this has an impact. I mean, really, it's really like contrary to our cognitive bias, because we really want to think that the things that I'm doing, like when things are going well, you want to think that this is because I did something right. And when something goes wrong, other people want to think that it's because you did something wrong. But in reality, it's like, it's much more important that you were lucky, that you launched your product on at the right time, that you were lucky enough to have the right product in the right marketplace at the right time, and you probably didn't plan that. It just happened like that. That can be quite frustrating to think about, but also quite liberating. And then of course, I mean, what we do, it does matter in the long run. It does matter a lot, but it's very hard to isolate that a certain thing made a certain impact. Really hard. But I don't know. I mean, I want to think that if we launch hoodies back in Hattrick, that we will go back to 1 million immediately. That would be really nice. Okay, so is the game getting more managers in the last years? Because I can see many new players joining. Well, right. I mean, the last over summer we have been going down, so that is partly predictable. But yeah, we don't want to go down more now. So what I think is happening is that we are getting more new users, like users that didn't know Hattrick before, that they're coming through the app, and that is something that is quite encouraging, I think, because I mean, we need some new users that are that haven't played before and so on. Let's see here. Have you considered replying to questions asked to Hoti on the global forum? I have considered, yes, and I will. Hattrick is in the App Store, Android Apps Play Store, but payments for premium are not available through Google Play. Why? Okay, this is a good question. So the reason here, mostly and historically, it was because the fee for these payments are extremely high, like 30%. So it felt very difficult to create the package that would make sense to sell in mobile. Now those commissions have gone down quite a lot, both in Apple and Android. So I think it's starting to get interesting to do it. But I still think maybe those packages need to be a little bit different. But I would like to do it. I think it would be good if we did it. And I think we need more supportive features that make sense on mobile also. Because right now it's still very web centric. So yeah, that's how we have been thinking about it. Will there be any option to keep Hattrick Anniversary League players at the end of 8 seasons? Well, you will have to sell them and buy them with another team, I guess, because those teams are ending at the end of the 8 seasons. Mod Edubin is asking about Merc. Yeah, so this question we get on every stream. will you enable reactivating the sale of these products? Yeah, we will eventually. We will do it, and I agree that it's interesting. But I have explained this before on the streams, but the issue is like this. To have the best quality, you need to print things in advance. You don't want to do print on demand because you don't get the same quality. And the hoodies that we sold 10 years ago, they were of really high quality. Like people really love them and they still use them 10, 15 years later. At the same time, we don't want the logistics of like having a warehouse with stuff. So I would like to prefer the print on demand for that reason, because I don't want the logistics. So I have in a way been waiting for these print on demand solutions to become good enough. But yeah, maybe we will have to fix that soon. I think they are much better now than they were 10 years ago. There is the Federation bring back the Hattrick hoodies, apparently. Would you consider increasing the cap for youth players? It could be very rare to get, say, a 9, but you can create the potential. I don't think, like, not for a player that was for sale that you could trade on the market. I think that like these superstar players, if we ever had them, I mean, one thing that we did consider, like for a anniversary event, was like a golden wonder kid that every team would have a chance to find, like to discover somehow in as an event during this anniversary year. And then you would find a really good youth player, but the thing would be that he could only play for your team. You could never sell him, so you would have to train him. And for various reasons, that never happened because there was a lot of like secondary problems with that. But I kind of like the idea that you have a player, like, he's going to be great, but you have to keep him. You have to do all the work yourself. You can't just buy him or sell him. So maybe it can come back in some other shape some other time. Okay, so we have another question about supporters. So since this stream is a little bit about these things, I'm gonna jump on that one. Over the last few years, have the paying supporter base increased, decreased, or decreased, and the non-supporters increased, or has it stayed static? So as we have fallen, like as the user base has decreased, the ratio of supporters have increased. So we have a higher percentage of supporters now than in a very long time. So that's great. Yeah, that's the answer. The in absolute numbers now, since we have been quite stable, it dropped a little bit recently. I think it's more or less hasn't changed, the absolute number of supporters in the last year. Yeah, and yeah, that's the answer to that question. Okay. We have a question about long shots here also. I don't know how long I'm gonna continue doing Q&A here, but let's continue for a while. So I'm Linker, the guy who disclosed a few vulnerabilities recently. I love the new changes. What do you think about the state of long shots in the current meta? Yeah, that's a good question. I think something. I mean, it's still something that we discuss. Let me put it like that. I think there is. It's still a tactic that that maybe is a little bit overpowered in a way, or needs, at least that there needs to be some alternatives in countering it. But yeah, as always, I don't want to say too much there, because people start making assumptions. But it's not a closed subject. Let me say that. I mean, I guess maybe in higher divisions, especially, it can be a little boring that so many teams rely on it. At the same time, you have to respect that they spend a lot of time building those teams. But yeah. Krubler 8 here says that the video tutorial would be very useful for the new managers. That's a great point, actually. And I wanted to mention that. I think I mentioned it on the forum. But one thing that we want to do as a Twitch exclusive with this recruiting campaign is to offer one of these new managers that comes in like a 1 hour tutorial live on the Twitch. And we could bring in some really experienced managers and to coach that user, and like also to get a chance to interview a new user, how they see Hattrick. I think that could be really fun, actually, for like for us old dogs to see Hattrick in a new light, and also for the new guy or girl to really get some powerful advice, and really race ahead of the competition in the early days. So yeah, so I have to, okay, so that's gonna happen. And then I have a negative feedback here on my background, so I'm sorry about that. I guess I just want to feel authentic, I'm not I don't have this amazing house that Antonia has, with the big piano. I live in this small boring flat, and I don't want to fake my background. I should fix that.
I can help you with that.
Yeah. You can vote on if I should, how you want me, if I should be in a cottage in the Alps or on a tropical beach or something like that. Yeah. New users are coming, but the point is, how long do they stay? I know many users that start the game and they quit because it takes ages to build a strong team. Yeah, that's true. I think it was, if it was here or in the forum, that I just saw someone talking about this, that the problem is not the pace, like the weekly pace of the game, the 2 matches per week. That's not the problem. And I'm happy to hear that, because I always liked the fact that Hattrick is not so stressful. But the problem is that it takes too long to build like a proper team. And I mean, it's in all, honestly, it takes absurd amounts of time. It takes like real time years to several years to build a strong team. So that's actually a really, really good point. It's quite a big change to go after something like that. Like, how do you increase the speed of, you have to increase like the speed of everything somehow, like to make the cycles shorter. But I think it's really worthwhile, and maybe there is some way to make it faster for new users, but at the same time, if you make it too fast, then they start expecting a certain speed. So we did that mistake like 10 years ago, when there was like a separate flow for new users. They came in and they played matches more regularly, like there were more matches in a special kind of league for new users. And then when they came into the real game, they were shocked by how slow it was. So I don't think that's very good either. But this is actually an idea that I haven't thought so much about. Like, when we talk about the speed of the game, we just think about how many matches you play, but that's a very relevant thing, is like how quickly can you really compete. And if it takes 5 years, I don't think a lot of people are attracted to the game. So yeah, that's a very good point. I don't know how to fix it, but I'm sure we can do something. Good. There's community event in Israel tomorrow. So if anyone is in Israel and knows Papa Mish, should come by, or Shlomit. Cool, congratulations. Yeah, the tutorial video. Yeah, I got away from the original idea about the tutorial video, but I think that's a great idea. And so this Twitch stream could be like a kind of tutorial video, but we would need something more shorter and well produced as well. Here is Oppa again, asking about homegrown stuff. Could you imagine a separate league where there is no transfer market, only teams with their own homegrown players? Yeah, I could imagine that. It's totally impossible, for sure. What else? Would you consider selling Hattrick again? Yeah, there was someone asking like maybe 2 years ago. But to be honest, I mean, we are very, very difficult to deal with when people come and asking. Like, I mean, there's a certain there's like a certain type of people and companies that are like consulting investment banks and stuff like that, and they have like their job is to fish for interest. So they might send emails and say that you have a fantastic business, and we have an interesting buy, someone interested in buying a business like you. And then they want a lot of data, and then they want meetings, and then they want you to fly to London, and then in the end there's nothing real. And I mean, we have done that dance a few times, and I really don't enjoy it. And then we also know, we have experience of what happens if you actually sell, and that reality is very different from what you're told before you sell. So I mean, there's a lot of like that kind of interest we're not basically listening to, even if it does come up once in a while. But then I mean, I can't rule it out. I mean, if like a really trusted person or a company that I really respect would come to us and have an idea, maybe we would be interested. But it's not something that we spend any time thinking about at all. So I don't think it's very likely. What do you think about traders? Don't you think a guy like Capitone needs to be stopped? Well, I mean, this is like one of the classic questions. We had one of the top traders on the show in the spring, and of course he didn't. He had a different point of view. I mean, the thing is that there's a lot of users that enjoy trading, and buying and selling players is part of football, and it's something that people enjoy. So I absolutely don't want to kill trading. And then, like with everything, you know, people start finding ways to optimize something, and then as long as it's a small group of people that have figured this out and they do it, it's okay. But then if like it becomes really like defining the economy, it's a problem. So we always have to consider certain limitations if it's necessary. But like I don't want to go in and stop someone because they have made too much money. You know, that's not fair either. So yeah, I don't want to kill trading. No, I don't think that would be good for the game. Okay, should you add features in the app like zooming in the logo of teams, or if one click flag, if one click a flag like San Marino, I go strictly to the main page? You know, there's a bunch of stuff that needs to improve in the app, and we want to move it to resemble the way the site works more. Of course, it has to be different because you have a different navigation and interface, touch screens and so on. But like the way you find stuff and the way the thing you interact with stuff should be as similar as possible. We do that. We try to do small steps in that direction, but and eventually we will come to the flags of San Marino as well. But yeah, I haven't thought about that particular problem. But zooming the logos, I think is probably something we can do pretty soon. What else? Okay, we have a guy writing in Swedish because he's driving. So yeah, He has offering to send some ideas, so I can do that later. How is the recruitment of employees going? Any progress? Yeah, that's a good question. I am gonna we have recruited one developer, as I have mentioned, Juan from Honduras, and he's been working since before summer. So he's up and running and very productive. So that's fantastic. But out of the three that we wanted to hire when we started recruiting last year, we only have hired one. So the most critical is to get back in the saddle and try to find a community manager, which is one of the things that I am most most angry at myself for not managing to fix, because it would have been a great year for community managers to be around. And as some people on the forum have been very um, willing to tell me the last few days, we need help in the communication area. It's just not enough to have one person, or one or two person sharing, a few hours a week in between everything else that they're doing. So I absolutely need help there, and I also want like new skill sets to come into the team, like around marketing and so on. So I want to go back to that, and we're gonna announce. We got a lot of good candidates, but I don't think all of them are still available. But we're gonna invite them to come back to us, and or if there's any new candidates. So that's absolutely gonna happen quite soon. Great. What else do we have? um, okay, so we have some feedback on how the admins, the volunteers in the Spanish-speaking forums are working. Yeah, that's something that I will have to look into. Thanks a lot for the feedback. Have you ever considered changing the age that the players start dropping skills? Anyway, in the future, for example, for a team to become competitive for longer. I haven't. We haven't really thought about that recently, but I did see an idea in that direction today on the forum, where, like, basically that you could, and that players could be born as early bloomers or late bloomers, so that they would have a different development trajectory depending on age, and that is pretty cool. Even though, I mean, it's a little hard to kind of anticipate the effects on transfer market and so on. But I like the idea that all players are not the same, and react the same to training at all times in their career. So it's a nice idea. Okay, so we're almost at an hour, and I have just been talking all the time. So now I think we need to switch gears here a little bit. This is what happens when you don't have a guest. So I really should try to be better at having guests here. Otherwise, it would become a little boring. But maybe we should. What about the quiz? What are we thinking there? Should we do the quiz first, or should we do the lesson? What do you think? Or can we split the quiz in two?
I think we have to do the quiz first.
Yep. Okay.
Because maybe some people have to go to sleep soon.
That's true. Yep. So the quiz is based on our last stream, right? On the or on the release that we did on the goalkeeper specialities, or what's the quiz?
The quiz is about different topics that we have talked in the last streams, last two streams.
Okay. That's good.
This will be very easy because it's the first one that we have come back, but the next quizzes will be very, very hard. So take this opportunity to get good score, people. Now I'm going to explain you how to do it. I'm going to share a link or code with you, and then you have to go to the link and write the code. And when we'll be all together ready to start, I will press a button and you will have 25 seconds to answer the questions. And then they will have 5 questions, and then the person that will get more score will be the winner.
Like I said, that we changed the platform that we used because there was some security concerns about the other ones. So we're trying a new one today, but we'll see how we like it, if we keep it or go with something else.
Yes, let's to go how it works. So I have to present and copy the link, and you have the link. Oops. I shared the link by the chat.
Mhm.
See, HPP Teles has joined.
Great. Now the hard part here is to choose your emoji. That takes a long time.
I don't want to share the screen because maybe I can show the answer. So we have 29 players, 34 players. This is growing up. Wow, 40 players. Everyone want to participate of this. Mr. Freeze, Labelas, Can't Stop, Papa Mitch, The Shaker. Wow. 46, 45, one less. Why?
That's just rude.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna join also. So we have one more.
50, 50. I mean, well, just 1 minute to join it.
We have someone here saying I joined too late to see the link. Okay, so just the link was not posted. It's posted again. Yeah, right. So you can still connect. That's what I wanted to say.
The code is very simple. A40.
A4OV. So that's pretty good turnout. We still have like around 150 visitors today. I'm happy to see.
Yes,
Okay,
we are.
now it's back to 108. Okay, but it's still very good. Good.
And we have many people reactions on this. Well, I think we are ready.
Yes, let's
We
go.
are 75, 57. So let's get started. Question 1 of 6. Who was the special guest in the last stream? Labelas, Papa Mitch, Tassos, or Antonio Chagota? Three, two, one. Time's up. Wow, Tassos. That's incredible.
Mhm.
I'm not a guest. And Papa Mitch 6 voted for him, and Lavelas 7. Wow. It was easy, but not for everyone.
Okay,
This is the score.
that's good. That's good.
Yes.
Some quick ones.
Go for
I
the
got
next.
it. I got it wrong. I'm sorry, but it was. I can't win this, so I had to.
I'm going to read the didn't release. You had to hit submit so quickly.
Yeah, it's your point depends on how quick you answer. Also,
Yes, but will not be the last quiz. So
Mm.
go for the next one. Question 2 of 6. What are the specialties that will have changes in the goalkeepers? Quick, header, or unpredictable? Here you can choose more than one. 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Wow. Very good answers. Hmm. It's okay.
Yeah, it's a close race there in the
Yes,
top.
in the top.
So, as a known face on place 3 there from the stream.
Well, go for the next. Question 3 of 6. Will the weather affect quick goalkeepers? Yes, of course not. What do you think, people? 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Wow. I think it was a very easy question, but we can see that 5 persons vote for the wrong option. So this is very funny. Wow, Lavelas is on the third place. And CHPP Teles in 5. Steve Rafe is first. Johan is number 37. And go for the next one. Question 4 of 6. When recruitment campaign ends? November 13, December 25, December 31, or never? Vote for the option you think is correct. And 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Wow. And the biggest part of the people was correct. December 25, just one person. And December 31, 11. It makes me sense, but it's not correct. Oh, what? E.G. Steverage is winning this. It's very close with Lavelas. And go for the next one. Question 5 of 6. Which goalkeeper specialty will start to get worse? Quick, powerful, or unpredictable? Vote. Vote for which you think is the best answer to get more score. 2, 1. Time's up. unpredictable 40 persons, just 5 for powerful and just 3 for quick players. It was a very easy question too. So continue with the last one. Oh, Stevie Rate is winning still this competition. And just one more question. We have 58 participants. What kind of players will have a salary 10% more expensive? Non-specialty players, specialty players, goalkeepers, more than 30 years players. Three, two, one. Time's up. Specialty players. Wow. This was the easier question ever. I can see. Well, I think somebody was going to vote for goalkeepers, but not.
I think in the next quiz we have to add some spelling questions into the quiz because they seem very interested in spelling here. I see in the chat. But we can have we can complement the Hattrick questions with that.
Yes, right.
That's good.
Nice. So
Okay,
continue.
so do we have any winners? Oh my god!
Actually, we have two of them.
Right. That's awesome. Well, it's well deserved because they follow each other all the way to the end.
Well, we have two
Okay, great.
winners, Lavelas and AG Steve Rage. I don't know who is Steve Rage.
Well, Steve can send an HTML to me or to Antonio, and we'll figure something out for you.
Yes, here we have the winners, and that was the quiz. We were trying a new platform, and I think it's very funny. So prepare for new quizzes. They will be very hardest the next time. So uh, Bobby's beat you in the quiz, but not in league. Nice new platform is saying Lavelas from. Where are you from, Lavelas? Well, so I'm going to let stop sharing my screen. And Johan, is there something you want to say about from Chile? This from Chile, same as you.
What?
Lavelas is from Chile.
Okay.
I'm kidding. It's my best friend. Um,
Yeah, we have a Christmas supporter sale, Saint Johan. I think that all children that have behaved well will be satisfied with what's coming in the Christmas. That's all I have to say. So let's get started on this this lesson. So just to explain again, the idea is to do a short segment of like more of a tutorial thing for new users, so that there's always something happening in these streams that are not just for the really nerdy guys. And then we can also cut that out and maybe use them in other ways, like small shorter videos. So over to you, Antonio. You have prepared something for us.
Yes, I have prepared something for you people. This is Hattrick Lessons in Life. I'm going to do a little introduction. What are Hattrick Stream Lessons? Um, Good. Hattrick is a game in which you will learn to be patient and think in the long term to get all the knowledge and players to form a competitive team. Okay. However, there are many variables to learn and take into consideration. This is because we have decided to use a small part of each stream to make short lessons for the newest ones. So let's get started. If you want to be a good manager, I think you need to have constancy because you have to log in at least once a week. You need to have patience because um, the projects you can do can late some years, but it's a very good experience if you know how to enjoy it. Uh, you must be curious because you have uh, much information to learn, to read, and you have to want to learn and have fun because that's the principle of this. Uh, Want to learn and have fun. So I think they are four aspects you have to learn. First, you have to make a good training plan. You have to good managing your the economic of your club, and you have to match. You have to good at matches planning, and then uh, today I will explain just the first aspect you have to learn. The last one is transfer market, but it's not very important. So, lesson one: how to make a good training plan. I have brought here some advices you have to follow, and I'm going to explain each of them. Number one, get a solid level coach. This is because if you have a six level coach, your players will improve very uh, slowly. So if you get a coach level 7, you will improve it faster. And it's not very expensive to get one. Uh, in the club, I don't know the conversation of the money for euros, but in Chilean pesos is not very expensive. So my first advice to to make a good training plan is to get a solid coach. Second, I think you have to open a youth academy and manage your players. Because if in the future you uh, make a team with some homegrown players, you will have uh, a little bonus that can make the difference against your opponents. So try to consider some homegrown players in your project. Three, collect some money. I'm not calling people to have big savings, but try to win money doing friendlies every week. Try to win some money winning your matches. Trying to win some money um, selling your players. Uh, you will need collect some money because when you get on the top, you will see that all teams that you can find on there are teams that started their projects with some money. Number four, decide what kind of players you want to use to start your training plan. Yes, for example, if you want to start training a goalkeeper or maybe a winger or maybe a forward, this is very important because you have to know what you are going to do before to do it, not change your plans when you are uh, training your team. Number 5, plan your training for the next certain seasons or maybe more. I don't know, but this is very important. Actually, I have some friends that have an own Excel with their training for the next 4 years. That sounds insane, but that is what you have to do, because you want to know what you want to reach, what stats you want to reach when your projects will be in his peak. Number 6, get players of similar age. Yes, this is very important because the the biggest efficiency of the training is at 10% of stamina. So if you have a player, for example, that is 20 and other player that is 30 years old, the 30 years old player won't have a very good performance because he will have a very low stamina level. Number 6, hire 2 assistant coaches and doctor level 5. This is because they will help you with your training. Okay, that's when you are starting a project, they are the principal workers that you have to hire. It's not important no one other. And number 8, prioritize training to performance. Yes, for example, if you have players with 19 years, uh, it's not a good idea to try to win the Principal Cup because you won't. It is impossible. So try to train as well you can, and in the future you could have the chance to win the Principal Cup. For example, in my team, when my players were younger, uh, I just reached the round number 3 or 4. But in the last seasons that my players are 30 years, I have played quarter of finals or something like that. So don't worry about having a good performance in cup. Just prioritize training because in the future you will be very good prepared uh, to fight for something important. And well, so I'm going to talk about the point number 4. Decide what kind of players you want to use to start your training plan. And here is an example of a player from my youth academy of my team of anniversary league. He's an Italian player. He is 17 years old and for 2 days. He's resilient. And I took this player as an example because it's not a player very hard to get, but it's a player that can reach a very good level if you train well. Okay, for example, I have to choose one player to start my training plan. Okay, I chose this one. So I have to decide what kind of player he becomes. So I would like this player becomes in a winger. Why a winger? In my case, the specialty don't like for a winger, but that's not important for this example. The important here are the skills this player have. Okay, for example, what a winger needs. It needs playmaking, defending, winger, passing, scoring. Okay, it's not an easy example, but it's a very good example anyway, because uh, we have to make to make the training plan around this player. Uh, any advice I can tell you people is good idea to start training um, any training that uh, have less um, players that you can train at 100%. For example, winger, you can train just 4 players. Well, so I'm going to take this player and I'm going to train in winger until he reaches 18 level. Okay, then I will change to other training in which I can train more than 4 players, so I can join or hide other players to my team. For example, in this training plan that I have designed, I start with 75 weeks of winger, then 74 weeks of playmaking, then 16 weeks of scoring, then 19 weeks of defending, uh, then 20 weeks of passing, and that's all. And when we will finish, we will have a player like this one, 32 years old, a very good winger, and he is with stamina in level 8, so it's very good for his age. And well, that is what I wanted to present today. Maybe for the biggest part of the people that is watching us, this is very simple, but this is a short lesson for new managers. It's not easy to understand the game when you are starting. Um, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me anything. I have done many training plans. Actually, I have 4 teams. I hope to play a Happy Master with any of them any day if I can. I don't know really, but it is very easy when you have some help, when someone tells you what can you do. I It took me like 10 years to learn to make a training plan. And then I started to teach to all people I could. Actually, I touched to 300 Chilean users, and then are very happy today.
That's great. No, I think um, someone said here that, I mean, it's a balancing act, because if you're like a totally new, if you're in your first week, maybe this is a little heavy to hear that you need to plan for 13 seasons ahead. But at the same time, I mean, that is the reality. If you really want to do it right, you have to think about the long term from the start. So I think it's very useful advice to have. And so thanks a lot. And even for old users, maybe some of these things is actually quite good to hear. um, I must say. Okay. Yeah, the chat has been continuing, so I picked up some good feedback there as well. And lots of good comments today. So thanks a lot for that. What's the program going forward here? I think we have another stream planned for this week, right?
Yes, actually, we have the next stream. I think it is on Sunday.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's there's a reason for that, and the reason will be revealed. But on Sundays we have qualification matches, so we're gonna try to time it well. Those are ongoing all the day, but yeah, we have a stream on Sunday, so we will talk about some interesting stuff then. More information to follow. So yeah, thanks a lot. We're reaching our time limit, I think. If you have any closing comments, Antonio?
I really like this streaming because um, you you could answer many questions. I mean,
Mm.
um, I think people appreciate uh, to have a feedback from you, and I like it. The new quiz system too. I think we can do very funniest
Mm.
in the future, and short lessons will be better every time. Um, just tell me by Hattrick email if you want any specific topic or something you want to learn. If you are a new user, um, everyone was a new user anytime. Um, so feel free to write me, and I will try to explain what you want to know in the next stream.
Yeah, I just got a new favorite user in the stream here, which is Martima. Thanks a lot for the offer there. I will seriously consider it. Thanks. You have to check yourself what she was offering. Okay, so thanks a lot, everyone. I enjoyed the stream. Next time I will come back with a new background and maybe shaved and so on. So we will look. We try to improve on every stream, right, in some way. So maybe a new background and some new quizzes and stuff like that. And see you on Sunday.
See you on Sunday.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Ciao.
Ciao.